of people who are wanting to progress into the NHS, councils, and other bigger organizations like that are making one big mistake. And this is what I've discovered through talking and interacting with people in my subscriber community, which is why if you are intentional about your growth as a migrant caregiver, please, you need to be there. And I'll share the details at the end of this video, so do watch until the end. People are focusing mostly on attaining those NVQs, mostly on attaining those qualifications. Well, my transitioning story into the NHS is a little bit different. Whether you want to call that luck, strategy, I don't know, but listen to this. So I didn't have any NVQ whatsoever, but I knew I wanted to get into the NHS. And here is where the catch is. I knew definitely that I had the experience, I had the skills, and I believe it is very important that we talk about it as migrants to say, you know what, regardless of where you work, regardless of what sector of the industry you're working in, care is guided by common things. And I'll be sharing and expanding all those things in future videos, which is why, all the more reasons why, if you are so intentional about your growth as a caregiver, you need to be on this platform. Please do subscribe. So the moment I realized that care is guided by the same standard, more or less the same. It's different location, but what guides it is more or less the same. I knew that there was a chance that I could go in there. And here is the most important part that I did. I figured it out that the system in this country works differently. When they are looking into employing, they don't just focus on one set of competence. They don't just focus on qualifications alone. They do focus on a range of qualities, on a plethora of things that you can bring to the table. Things like experience, things like competence, training, and skills. And also qualifications are key. Suppose you don't have the qualifications, but you've got strong skills, you've got transferable skills, you've got experience. You too could transition into the NHS or the council or any organization. I am testimony to that because I broke into the NHS without the NVQ Level 3. Another thing as well that I realized going into the NHS was you need to come up with a very solid strategy in terms of the way then that you communicate those skills, that training, those transferable skills that you have, the experience that you already have. A lot of people do make a mistake there. They will tell you, I've applied hundreds several times with no success. What is it that I should do? I do a bit of coaching in the background. If you are wanting help with your personal statement, your CV, how to apply into these organizations, I'm your go-to person. So do head over to my Facebook channel if you're not already there, and do subscribe. In my subscriber hub, I do one-to-one coaching. We do panel beat those CVs, those personal statements, and we show you in a very intimate, personalized way how best you can do it. This is based on what we have done and what others are already doing and succeeding. This is tried and tested. You won't regret. We'll make it worth your while. So don't struggle alone because other people have already walked down that road. I have walked it. I've seen success in that area and in that regard. No wonder why I'm saying, hold on. This is not time for you to be adding layer onto layer of experience and time without you breaking into the system. You already know what you want to do. You know where you want to be. Don't wait until you finish that NVQ Level 3. There is other ways and other means which we're articulating as we go, in which you can break into these industries. There is actually a game changer to this whole breaking into the NHS or council to it. I'll share with you a little bit of a story. I was doing somebody's CV and we were going through it, panel beating it, putting in language that systems do require or the shortlisting criteria does require. And I was stuck in between. I had to ask them, have you ever worked in a care home? Mind you, they were applying for the NHS. They said, yeah, I've worked in the care home, but I was with the agents. And I said, why is it not on your original CV? One thing that I've realized is people do underestimate the power of every little tiny bit experience. Whether you've worked as a part-timer, whether you've worked with an agency, I would say no experience is useless. Put that experience on. Not all experience has to be when you were sponsored or when you were on a permanent role. For as long as you've had experience in that sector, in that industry, it is an opportunity for you to shed some light onto that. Don't let that experience slide. The moment we added that someone had worked in a care home and we were reviewing their CV. The change was amazing, was brilliant. So a lot of people are downplaying their experience, are shortchanging themselves by not including certain experiences simply because they worked there as part-timers or they went there as an agency. When you work for an agency, I'll give you my example. I worked for an agency that was in 2023. When I was still sponsored by a domiciliary care company, I joined an agency. That agency would signpost me to different care homes. Now, those different care homes catered for different specialties, different care needs. In my CV, if you look at my CV today, I have actually separated that experience so that I'm pinpointing on the expertise, the experience, and the skills that I was learning based on the specialization of each and every unit. You can also do that. And we also can help you if you are in our Subscriber Hub community through Facebook. We will gladly help you, show you how you can separate experience to boost your CV, to shed light, to put the spotlight on the skills that you have. And believe you me, skills, experience are also the currents that you need to get into the NHS. Also, another thing that I want to highlight, there is a lot of transferable skills from domiciliary support work and care home that you could carry into the NHS that they would actually be glad to see. I experienced this firsthand when I then joined the NHS. Sometimes you're thinking, I don't think the hospital is for me. I don't know how I would do because I've never worked in a hospital setting. When I was there, the moment I was there, induction over, mandatory training over, I knew I had to be there. I knew I wanted to be there because it was sort of the same care, but just in a different environment altogether. The confidence and the compliments as well that I was getting, be it from the patients, colleagues, and the management, that would say, how long have you been doing this? Have you always worked in a hospital? No, I'm new, but I started off doing home care. I've worked in care homes as well. So it was easy for me to put into practice things that I had already learned, all the experience that I'd learned through working in different care settings. I would implement them. And that made my work so excellent based on the compliments that I get as well. And also they were confidence boosters. So don't downplay your experience and say, well, I've only just worked in domiciliary. It's not just domiciliary. Look at it holistically. Pinpoint on the expertise, the experience, the skills that you've learned in domiciliary. And we will be breaking everything down in future videos. So please do subscribe if you haven't done so. So all you need to do is to clearly explain your experience, link it to the job role, articulate it perfectly in your personal statement, and you will see wonders. We can never talk about getting into the NHS without talking about how competitive it has become. I've been helping people with their applications. I've seen how competitive it is becoming. Why is it becoming so competitive? It's because people are now beginning to realize the benefits of working for the NHS, from structure, stability, job security, work-life balance, training opportunities, you name it. So how do you position yourself for competitiveness? This is where I've spoken time and again, and I'll still continue to share the fact that you need to be strategic about how you're going to break into it. A lot of job applications now are coming with the sort of a clause that says NHS experience or hospital experience is essential. But how then will you gain that experience if you're not already working for the NHS? There are means and ways, and I'm always talking about strategies. I'm big on strategies because that's my rule book. That's how I work. That's how I operate. So this is how you can get that NHS experience. I've spoken about joining the bank team. I've done a lot of videos. It is a really good way of gaining NHS experience. And also the criteria when it comes to joining bank, you're not talking about sponsorship. You're not talking about a whole lot of things. You're not talking contracts like limited contracts or limited hours. And also it does work for a lot of people. When I joined the bank team, I was coming from domiciliary. So it worked perfectly well because I would only pick a bank shift if it's my off day, or maybe if I've got the time to do it. So the other good thing about joining NHS Bank is the fact that they don't ring you to say, well, we've got a shift, you have to do this shift. It's you that picks shifts when it's convenient for you. And also another thing, which is a cherry on top, is the fact that you're only required to do one shift in 3 months for you to keep your bank contract. So in as much as I understand a lot of people work in very busy areas, in very busy sectors, in very busy companies where they don't even have time for other things, and in 3 months, surely you can spare time to pick either a full shift or half a shift. That's the beauty of bank, because a lot of people do say, well, my job keeps me so busy, I never have the time. Just squeezing time is you building your skills, is you are working on your strategy to break into the NHS. Another beautiful, brilliant way of saying you have worked for the NHS to add on to your experience is through volunteering. A lot of NHS trusts are hinging on volunteers to help out in different hospitals. Do go on your trust website for you to register as a bank staffer or to show interest as a volunteer. It's a beautiful, brilliant way of breaking into the system. I've shared in previous videos and posts, even on Facebook. We have shared stories from other people where they've said, you know what? I heed your advice and I joined volunteering. From volunteering, they went onto the bank, and from bank, they went onto sponsorship. It's all about strategy, patience, and clear goals as to what is it that you want for yourself. So that's all I had for you in this video. Stop waiting until everything is perfect. Start looking at what is it that you already have and how best can you articulate that? How best can you put that into words, terms, and the language that the system requires for them to shortlist you. And if you do struggle with your personal statement and your CV, we are here to help you with that. We are here to have a chat with you and take you through the whole process. Just go onto our Facebook page. It's Florence Musekio, and do subscribe there, and we'll reach out to you and arrange a one-to-one support session where we are going through the whole process with you and also sharing other intimate parts of our journey and progress, migrant caregivers in the country, where we have been, how we have done it, and what has worked and what hasn't. We all share with you there. So please do so. And also, if you watch this video until this end and you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Leave a comment as well. If there are any other areas that you want to know, other parts of this journey that you want to know, and we'll do videos and posts and respond to you in the comments. And also, don't forget to share with your friends, those that are career progression oriented, those that you want to break into the NHS. And we're going to be keeping these videos coming as we want everybody to experience what we've experienced. We want to build the same community that has got the same goals, focus, and our focus is career progression, growth, and success is migrants in the diaspora. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.